Hey everybody, let me scroll to the top of the page. Welcome to Respawn Aim Fire, the Kick-Ass Urban Gaming Podcast. RAF of Idiots. I'm one of your hosts, Adam.
Alex told me, let me know the moment we go live. I didn't know what he was going to do, and he just fucking disappeared.
Who knows? Maybe when we introduce him, he'll show up. Oh boy.
Oh my God.
Watch the video, people.
Oh my God.
That is terrifying. There's a goose on the screen.
Hey, get out of here. Out! Out! Get out! Now! Out!
For audio
Those little
listeners,
bastards.
Alex.
Thank God.
There was a goose
That
in
thing-
Alex's house.
What happened with the goose, Alex Cozina?
It almost took a shit on my keyboard again, but thankfully I was able to scare it off in time. We're good. We
my
are
God.
good.
That's excellent.
so
That was a callback to last week. Ooh, that's good.
Yeah. And Chad Michael Ennis, who doesn't have a goose in his apartment. Hopefully.
I'm dying. I'm dead. Wearing cool glasses, though. Look at the cool pattern. This is a very visual episode. You got the reflection of my Dale Earnhardt glasses, and I got cool lights.
Are those Dale Earnhardt glasses for real?
They are for now. They are now. Anything with like reflective lenses that are colored like this just screams NASCAR to me.
Absolutely.
Like,
you know
this-
it, buddy.
this
Down there at the
NASCAR.
track.
It would only be more NASCAR if they were Oakleys and they wrapped around my head, or if they were one
Yeah.
continuous lens without the
Oh,
bridge
one-
in the middle.
A fucking phaser.
Yeah.
Catch us on
Not like
twitch.tv
Cyclops.
/ Cyclops. Yeah. Twitch.tv
Geordie
/
LaForge.
Who?
Geordie LaForge from Star Trek.
Yeah. Reading Rainbow guy. Twitch.tv
Exactly.
/
I've never heard his real name before. I was just like, oh yeah, LeVar Burton
No,
on
that's his
Star
name from
Trek.
Star Trek. His real name's LeVar Burton.
No, his real name is LeVar Burton on Star Trek.
Oh, okay. I got you. That's what I think his name is. Twitch.tv Asheville Video. Sunday evenings, 8:30. YouTube podcast services, 9 a.m. Eastern. We have things going on today, including number 1 on the list, touching base with Cozy. Let's go ahead and get this started. Something happened to Cozy. He got killed by a duck, or he didn't. I don't know what happened.
Ladies and gentlemen, people of the Respawning Fire jury, it has been a month. And Chad really contested me on that when I said that when I jumped into our call earlier just before we did our podcast. But I'm going to say it's been a month because even though it's only technically been half of a month, it has felt like 2 months and then some.
Well, so
Allow
technically,
me.
I didn't necessarily contest it. I just said it's interesting that Canadians measure time differently because in America, it's been 16 days. But I didn't realize that April, the whole month was over in our version of 16 days in Canada. But so it's currency conversion, time currency.
Yeah, it's not important. It's not important. What is important to this story is that several months ago, a friend of mine online was like, hey, Cozy, I might be coming through to Montreal the weekend of April 1st and the 2nd. Would you be available to hang out with me? I said, sure, sounds like a plan. Told the Respawning Fire co-hosts that I was not going to be available for that weekend. Fast forward to a few days before that weekend, my friend bails at the last minute, unforeseen circumstances, we're not meeting up. And I'm like, well, I guess I can tell the Respawning Fire guys that I'm available again. Or my father actually asked me a couple of days ago if I wanted to come down to ye old Cozy Cabin. We have a little cottage in the eastern townships, sort of southeast of Montreal. And I was like, you know what? Let's do that. It's been a little while since I've been to that cottage in the past. Let's go there. And so I was packing up my stuff to leave to the cottage. It's like an hour and a half drive there. And I'm like, what game do I want to bring with me? You know, typically in the past when I've done these trips, I'll bring like my DS, my 3DS, my PlayStation Vita, my Switch. I found that typically I only end up playing one console and typically only like 1 or 2 games. So I don't want to pack super heavily.
Before you reveal what it is, can we try to guess?
I mean, I may have already revealed it on Twitter, but it's been a few weeks. Go ahead. Take a guess.
Mom hid my game on the 3DS.
I did briefly think about bringing my 3DS so I could play some of those games, but no, it is not Mom hid my game.
Damn.
Am I guessing the game or the system?
Either or.
You brought your Switch and you played Solitaire.
No, I'm not much of a fan of Solitaire. That's one of those games where I've been taught how to play Solitaire many times over the course of my life, and every single time I just forget after like a few weeks. No, I went looking through my Switch library, and I'm like, what games in here have I not yet played or completed? We got Mario plus Rabbids. We got the Mario plus Rabbids sequel. We got Super Mario Odyssey.
Mario
we got
Tennis
Breath
Aces?
of the Wild. No, I never bought that game.
Yeah, you were so lucky.
Yeah, I really lucked out there. I skim over to Breath of the Wild, and I'm like, you know what? I've had a very contentious relationship with this game, but I did promise that I would play it sometime this year in anticipation of the release of Tears of the Kingdom. Maybe this is my one shot to do so. So I packed it along with me and went to the cottage. Real quick, for those of you who've not listened to past episodes that I've been on, my relationship with not with Tears of the Kingdom, with Breath of the Wild, is such that I was a huge Zelda fan back in the day. My Zelda fandom kind of peaked with Twilight Princess because I got both it and the Wii shortly after they launched. And then after there, it was sort of like a slow downhill slope. I really enjoyed Phantom Hourglass, but I hated how on rails, literally, Spirit Tracks was. And, I found stuff to appreciate about Skyward Sword, but on the whole, I thought that game was pretty mid. The Wii U comes around. The Wii U as a whole has, a pretty good library of games, but doesn't really do it for a lot of people. And the chips are really down during that era. As a long life Nintendo fan, I just really don't vibe with that system at all. Do enjoy Hyrule Warriors for what it is, but eventually the Wii U comes to an end. The Switch releases in 2017, and alongside it, Breath of the Wild. And I'm like, okay. This is my opportunity to both get back into my love of Zelda and also to kind of reignite my love for Nintendo. And everybody's saying this game's really great. This is gonna, fingers crossed, really work out. Buy the game at launch, play it, really does not stick with me at all. And I walk away pretty disappointed and distraught, and it kind of kills my love of Nintendo for like a couple of years there. Like, I'll still go out and buy like a couple of games. Like I bought Pokemon Sword and Shield and played that a bunch. But on the whole, those years were largely defined by me mostly playing PlayStation stuff. Eventually, quite a few years later, I'm like, you know what? If I want to reignite my love for Nintendo, I kind of have to take a little bit of initiative. And so over the course of last year, I play a crap ton of games on my Switch. Play Bayonetta 1 and 2 alongside you guys, play Chicory, play Super Mario Odyssey. Going into this year, I play Cadence of Hyrule, the Zelda-themed crossover with Crypt of the Necrodancer. Enjoy that a surprising amount. I want to keep this Switch Renaissance train going. And so I was primed to finally give this game another shot. And I'm here to announce on the podcast that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm back in.
Oh, shit!
I didn't think it was going to happen.
What?
I didn't think that it was going to actually get its grips in me, but I'm back in. Now, I do need to talk a little bit through kind of my process for playing this game this time around. Reflecting back on my time with Breath of the Wild back when I played it for the first time in 2017, I think that one of the big things that really winded me on that game first time around, that really kind of killed my motivation to keep playing it, was that I kind of just ignored most of the main objectives and kind of just wandered, which I know some people are listening to this right now and are thinking, oh, that sounds superb. Like, I love being able to wander in big, expansive open world games.
I mean, that sounds like Adam's Elden Lord philosophy. Like, let me just wander and beat shit up and become king of the world.
For me, it just was really winding because I just got to a point where I had like unlocked so many side quests, so many objectives, so many things to do. There were just so many things on my plate, and I'm like, I don't know where to start. I was like Jeremy Renner in that one war movie where he walks into a cereal aisle, and I'm like, I don't know what to pick and what to go with.
What was that? The one where he's on the bomb squad? Hurt Locker?
Yeah, the Hurt Locker. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Didn't he win an Oscar for that? Good for him.
Yeah,
before you even reconfirmed, yes, he did. I decided he did.
Great. And so yeah, this time around, I'm like, clearly like going off and wandering and just sort of seeing where my heart leads is not going to work out for me. So this time around, I'm going to play the game in a very kind of organized fashion. First things first, before I do anything else in the game, once I'm off of the Great Plateau, which is like the tutorial area for the game, I'm going to go around the map and I'm going to activate all 15 Sheikah Towers. And I can complete some small side quests if they're directly on the way. I can complete a couple of shrines here and there if they're also along the way, but I am not going to stray very far from that path. Once all that was done, I was like, I'm going to complete X amount of shrines just so I can get my hearts to this level, and then I'm going to go and complete the elephant divine beast. And then after that, I'm like, okay, I'm going to complete X amount of shrines and X amount of side quests, and then I'm going to complete the giant bird, eagle, divine beast. And that's basically how I've kind of structured my playthrough of Breath of the Wild, and it has significantly helped me enjoy this game, much more so than I enjoyed it before. Just being able to always have a kind of structure to this literally like wild world that I'm exploring right now has like enriched my kind of love of it so much, and definitely allowed me to kind of appreciate the kind of ways in which this game really sings. Namely, it's, you know, very kind of like physics, kind of intensive open world, the kind of like very kind of loose kind of like nature to a lot of its puzzles that allow for kind of multiple solutions, all that stuff. All that being said, I don't love everything about this game. It's kind of a minor complaint in the grand scheme of all things, but like it is such a tease that this game was touted as being the first Zelda game with full voice acting, and yet there's like barely any voice acting in it at all. And like the voice acting is not bad, like not bad performances, but like playing through it again, you realize like just how seldomly they employ voice acting throughout its narrative. Do definitely, you know, miss the presence of like big kind of traditional Zelda dungeons. The divine beasts are pretty fun and do definitely scratch that itch. But on the whole, they're not exactly a replacement for ye old traditional Zelda dungeons. A lot of the side quests in the game definitely don't stand up to, I feel like, the quality of side quests that we're used to from games like God of War Ragnarok, for example. Ragnarok, like, for as much as I, you know, ragged on that game last year, that game had stupendous side quests. I love how they were few in number, but every single one of them, like, really tied back into the main story or a main character's sort of development in a major way. And so many of the side quests in this game are like, go find like 55 crickets for me and bring them back, or like go and figure out this the location of this shrine from this like super arcane riddle that barely makes any sense. Don't love all that stuff, but on the whole,
have you
I'm
speaking
enjoying
of side quests, I stopped doing side quests in that game because I would spend so long collecting crickets or doing all of these stupid things. And then the reward for the quest was something that I had zero interest in or didn't care about, or it's dumb. Have you been doing enough side quests that like you've actually found that some of them are rewarding? Like, what are some of the things that you've gotten from them?
I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, by the time that I'm done with this game, I'm not going to bother with completing every single side quest. I'm going to do as many as I feel like I can do without wasting too much time. And I would say that, yes, I have definitely gotten some worthwhile rewards. It's great to be able to get like 200 rupees, for example, from completing a side quest, and then be told, oh, hey, if you bring these same resources to me over and over again, I'll just keep giving you 200 rupees over and over again. That's great. So yeah, I mean, it has been worth it for me. But again, I just feel like games like Ragnarok have proven that you can do so much more with side quests, and this game doesn't really live up to that.
Nice.
So my story would end there. In fact, my story would have ended there a week ago had I been on your podcast, Respawning Fire, with Alex, Adam, and Chad.
What?
However, Montreal, the great city that I live in, and by extension, a lot of Quebec and Eastern Ontario, which is the province that contains Ottawa, the capital of Canada, were struck by the mother of all ice storms on Wednesday, April the 5th. Let me tell you guys, this ice storm literally only lasted like an hour and a half. Like, it was like, I was in my office at work at the time, and I barely even felt it sitting there at my desk. And yet, it catastrophically destroyed our entire energy grid. And here's the thing. Within the past 365 days, there have definitely been a few outages here at the Kazina household. There have definitely been some 12-hour outages, some 24-hour outages, some 36-hour outages in some cases. We're used to it. It's to be expected. What I was not expecting is that the outages would last almost 5 days. From Wednesday, April the 5th until Monday, April the 10th, we had no power at our home, and occasionally, especially during those first few days, a very spotty cellular data as well, presumably because some cell towers were probably knocked down as well by the ice storm. And that made for a very interesting Easter weekend. On one hand, because I had just gotten into Breath of the Wild, I was able to play the game on the go because, of course, it's one of the main features that the Switch offers you, the gamer. But because we had no power at home, we had to constantly be out and about, charging our phones at libraries, at family friends' houses, at restaurants. It was a whole affair, but thankfully power was restored last Monday, and I am here now to tell you that we are doing okay.
That is wild. I remember as a kid when we would have, like, I lived in North Carolina, and we'd have hurricanes or winter storms every once in a while that would like knock out power for a day or two. And as a kid, I was like, "This is awesome! I get to play my Game Boy, and we're all sleeping in the living room," and it's like cool. But like seeing it from an adult perspective, like recently one of my coworkers, same idea, like her power was out for like 3 days during one of these storms. And she's like, "I have to come to work and charge my phone on the floor, and my kids' school is out and no one's at home with them, and we can't stay warm." And I was like, this is terrifying. I thought it was so cool as a kid, but I bet my parents were freaking terrified. Like, we're all going to die. I cannot
real
imagine
tough.
what y'all were going through.
Yeah, I mean, it was super weird because it was Easter weekend, which meant that we were actually meeting up with a lot of people for supper, which actually it kind of worked out in our instance because it was like, oh, we can, charge our phones at restaurants or at these other people's houses that we're going to. But like, especially once we got to like the 4th and 5th day, it was like, God, when is this going to end? We also lost access to hot water halfway through there, and so that created another complication of how are we going to take showers. And we made it work, but it definitely was not great. And we also had to, as you might expect, throw out a lot of food. It was kind of sad because initially what we were doing is we were just keeping all our food from the fridge in a cooler outside, and at the start of the outage it was actually pretty cold outside, so it was actually remaining pretty decently preserved. But then it heated up over the course of the weekend, which was good because Montreal has desperately been needing hot weather for a little while, but not good for the food. So we ended up having to throw a lot of that stuff out. But yeah, that's just how it goes.
I'm glad you were all safe, and I'm glad you got a chance to utilize the power of the Nintendo Switch in the way that it was intended for power outages.
Hell yeah.
That's why Nintendo made it specifically for that reason.
They did. They're like, people would love... That's what they're like. Everyone wants to play the Wii U, but no one can because the power's out. So that's why we need to make the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, for that specific problem. 5 days is
Not-
wild.
Yeah.
I've never had more than
Not
2
everybody.
hours. Ever.
2 hours, really?
That's the most I've
Wow.
ever had. Yeah. We have a lot of underground power lines, I think, is the main thing.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of things to do with your Switch during a power outage for 5 days, has Zelda finally reached full hap? Full hap?
Full hap.
Full hip.
Full hap, everybody.
Happily.
God, I fucking love that show. Has Zelda finally reached full hype? Logan Plant at IGN. The main reason that Logan Plant wrote that headline is because, Alex just told us a story. Maybe he's back into Zelda. There's another person on this panel who also might be back into Zelda now based off this trailer, and the other person is here. The The final trailer for Zelda Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom finally gave us a proper look at new enemies, bosses, returning characters, and a proper look at King of Evil Ganondorf. And again, I didn't break down everything because it's a 4-minute trailer. Go watch it if you haven't seen it. It's got good music. It's cool. After teasing the character for years, Link's nemesis Ganondorf finally shows up in this trailer. Nintendo of America also posted official art of the mighty Demon King. They knew what was going to happen when they posted it. The internet ran with it. Matt Mercer's the voice. It's a good time. He's a big buff boy. The trailer also revealed a mysterious new character with dark skin and long white hair. They very closely resemble the character seen in the wall painting from the very first Tears of the Kingdom trailer. You know, eagle-eyed fans pay attention to that. It also seems like we can expect more traditional Zelda bosses in Tears of the Kingdom. One shot shows Link fighting a massive spider-like enemy that evokes memories of Ocarina of Time's Goma?
Goma.
How do you say that? Is it Goma?
How's it spelled? Gohma?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's I think it's Gama or Goma.
It's a big spider.
I don't actually know. Anyways, but yeah, we're familiar with it. We know Goma.
Go home to Oklahoma. We also get a better look at Gleeok, the returning boss from the original Legend of Zelda. Next, we see some sort of structure rising from the sand in the Gerudo area of the map. It's still too early to call for sure, but this could be the classic dungeon many Zelda fans have been hoping for. Fucking wish. Other quick teases shown include a sailboat that's flying in the air, a flying squirrel-looking outfit that appears to improve Link's gliding ability, a large construct emerging from a wall, Link riding a small rocket ship into the air, and much more. So the reason I pulled this stuff out of the trailer specifically is because Chad formerly didn't love Breath of the Wild, but there seem to be things hinted in this trailer that maybe they're on the right track. Chad, do you have a rebuttal for my statement?
Oh, I have good thoughts about this game for the first time in a long time. When I watch trailers, here's just a little thing about me. Like, when I watch trailers, I almost never, ever look for details in there. Oh my god, did you see this thing in the background of that frame? What do you think this means? Even movie trailers, I basically watch them as let me just get a feel for what this movie's going to be about. Is it going to be an action? Is it going to be cool? Are there going to be romances? All this kind of stuff. What is the general feeling of this movie or this game going to be? So none of these things that you're calling out in here, like Ocarina of Time's Goma, or I just saw they've got big, cool looking bosses in this one. Oh, they've got cool looking characters. Oh, Ganondorf's back. Oh, things. It looks like some of my complaints and things on my wish list for Zelda Breath of the Wild were answered in this. We might see dungeons. We have big bosses, and I know in Zelda Breath of the Wild there were big enemies that you could run into in Eventide Island or some other areas of this thing too. But this looks like it might be the actual interesting version of Breath of the Wild that I have been waiting for.
Real quick, the thing about a lot of those big bosses is that, and I don't really fault Nintendo for designing them this way, but a lot of them could be just very easily beaten by just spamming your most powerful attacks over and over. You have a few bosses here and there, like that one worm enemy in the Gerudo Desert that you could fish up into the air with bombs, for example. But other than that, most of the Ganon Blight bosses you could just beat by just being all right, I'm just gonna wail my sword over and over and over again. Until their HP was completely depleted. The only boss that kind of broke with that convention was the leader of the Yiga clan, which is the evil ninja clan that you encounter later into the game. He was actually a pretty good boss fight that was a little bit more traditional of you have to figure out what puzzle mechanic you have to complete in order to damage him. But yeah, a lot of them were very much it's a big dude that you can just wail on for a while.
Exactly. And these seem to be bosses. They might have interesting mechanics. They have personalities. They have story reasons for existing here. So I am in because on every level, this trailer makes this game look interesting versus just a cool playground for me to run around and get bored in eventually. So I'm in, Adam. Now, that being said, I ain't going to pre-order this thing. I'm definitely going to wait for reviews to find out if that is indeed the case. But I mean, I'm going to play it. I have a podcast about video games. I have to play it. But
now, Some
I'm
of
a
us
little
also have podcasts about video games, and they don't have to play every video
Well,
game.
you have
that
an
comes out.
excuse because you don't have a Nintendo Switch. So
Mm-hmm. But that's interesting that you're going to buy it, because I definitely felt like you probably wouldn't, or you might have been like, well, I'm missing out, I have to play it, but I don't think you were interested in it, and now you are, which is fun. And so
Yeah.
is Alex. Look at that, 0 to 100, real quick, whole squad on that real shit.
I'm not 100. I'm not 100. I still don't care for like making trash vehicles to go fly into the sky. Like that doesn't seem fun to me. I'd rather just have like cool vehicles that exist that I can pilot rather than piecing together logs and flowers and bat eyes and fans to make something that goes into the sky.
You're going to play nuts and bolts, and you're going to like it.
I will say, just real quick, because I already talked a lot about Zelda on this podcast, and I don't want to hog the conversation for any longer. I love this trailer. The prior two trailers we had gotten for Breath of the Wild really didn't do it for me, especially the last one, because with both the prior two trailers, they had like concluded Nintendo Directs with them. The first one, it was like, okay, it's good to get like a little bit more information about Tears of the Kingdom after waiting so long. And then with the second one, it was like, come on, like you are drip feeding information at such a slow pace. Show us a little bit more. And then we got that like 10-minute gameplay breakdown thing. And then we got this trailer, which I think really like offers up a like comprehensive look at this game that I had been wanting all this time. Still not a lot of story content in this game, but I mean, I wasn't expecting a lot of story content out of this game, to be real with you guys to begin with. But yeah, this trailer was great. I will say I do feel a little bit bad that I finally got back into Breath of the Wild so close to this game's release, because like I kind of want to take a quick break before I jump into this game after this, but I'll figure things out.
Well, you've got what,
out.
2 months before this comes out?
No, it's like a month. It's just like a month.
Well, Canadian
at this
time's
point.
2 Canadian
different.
months,
So.
yeah.
Yeah, 2 Canadian.
Yeah. And I also
you,
wanted
Adam.
to check out what was it, Age of Calamity, the Dynasty Warriors game, because that seems like it's dumb fun as well. So yeah, we'll figure things out.
What is the singular Alec, when you were gone, Alex, came on and he, for the gameplay breakdown, and he was talking about the fact that they waited so long to reveal the name Tears of the Kingdom, but I still don't like know why. Like, what did that reveal? Like, what was that? I don't know what Tears of the Kingdom was and why they waited so long. I understand Endgame, the way they did that for Avengers Endgame, where like, we're not going to reveal the titles like 2 months before this movie comes out. Do you have any insight, Alex, as to why or what that means, or why it would be a spoiler of some kind?
I mean, we saw the titular Tears of the Kingdom in the trailer. They were those little like tear-shaped beads that Zelda and I believe another character are holding up at some point. So the title is definitely a reference to those, but there's also thematically probably something else going on in the trailer. I will say, I was really annoyed to hear a lot of people theory crafting that it's called Tears of the Kingdom because Zelda is dead. Like a lot of people, have really wanted to see a Zelda game where Zelda actually gets a chance to shine and do stuff. And the idea that she's actually dead in this game really didn't sit well with me. So I'm glad that this trailer kind of semi-deconfirmed that theory. But yeah, other than that, I don't really know.
They're crying because Ganon is back. I don't fucking know. Like,
Ganondorf is back, Adam.
They're the same fucking person. When you go to Smash Brothers, it's the same guy.
I would be remiss not to mention that. So ever since the introduction of the Sheikah in the Zelda series in Ocarina of Time, as you know, a big kind of component of the Sheikah is their like little emblem, which is like an eye with like the tree pieces of the Triforce on top with like the teardrop coming out of it.
It's like the lens of truth in Ocarina of Time. Had that same
right,
symbol?
exactly.
Yeah.
And also the like Sheikah symbols, for example, like the stones that you can like hit and they'll give you like information. Yeah, like that particular teardrop has been a piece of iconography in the Zelda series for quite some time. So maybe it's possible that what this game might do is it might be like, hey, let's explain like why that teardrop exists. Because I didn't even think about this, but like, for example, also in Ocarina of Time, they introduced the idea that like there's like the Triforce, like thing that's like just like the three triangles meant to represent the three pieces of the Triforce. But then you also have like the crest that shows like the Triforce with like the bird wings underneath it. And for a long time, it was just like, oh, that's just an image of like the Triforce with bird wings. And then later on in Skyward Sword, they retconned that to be like that bird is the loft wings from that game. That's what it's meant to represent. So maybe they're going to do something similar with the Sheikah tear symbol, explain what the tear is supposed to be.
I guess we'll see on May 12th, 2023. Or June if you're in Canada. We're gonna.
It's releasing on May 12th here as well.
Oh, just making sure. We're gonna move on to playtime. Playtime. What have you been playing? Playtime. Chad, I guess you'll go first because Alex has been talking and I've been talking, so you go.
We have launched Grandmaster Nightfalls in Destiny 2. Everybody, woo! This week was the Proving Grounds Strike was the Grandmaster Nightfall featured this week. And it is one that has been, like, anytime I play that strike, it's always really hard, especially the final boss of that thing. It's, like, so hard, and I don't look forward to it, and it's going to be a pain in the ass. And we played it the other night. Me, Audrey, and Jericho, Audrey literally, like, got off of a plane, came home, and was like, let's go. And I was like, good, because I have to get on a plane in 8 hours. So let's do this right now when our two, like, ships in the night align. We did it. We fucking beat it. And because of this Grandmaster Nightfall, I now have a Conqueror seal. I'm a Conqueror, baby, which means I can run around and I can brag with a little title on my name and everyone gets jealous, which means I've beat 6 Grandmaster Nightfalls before.
So you beat the game now?
Yeah, I beat Destiny.
Okay, very nice.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, I've talked about like the difficulty scaling and all that kind of stuff that they changed about it this season. So it was nice to be able to run in at a capped power level. Like, you don't have to grind more than 15 power levels, or 18, 15 is the highest power level. So, like, we can jump into it much easier. Next is MPR. Metroid Prime Remaster, baby.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah. So, speaking of, I was on a plane for 2 days of this weekend. A 4-hour trip to and from Chicago. And I had some time, and I brought my Nintendo Switch, and I was like, let's play Metroid Prime Remaster. Let's get in this thing. This game, y'all, fucking looks so good on Nintendo Switch. Especially that nice OLED screen. This game looks so good. I think it's a wonderful port. I haven't played it since I got my Wii, and I bought the GameCube disc of Metroid Prime and played it with the GameCube controller. But it just feels good to play. The Z targeting, it feels really, really good to. It just feels good. It's good. It's a good game. Very good game. I've gotten all the way through the very first like big boss. Like, Alex, you played it, so you know it's the plant boss that like is poisoning all the water and shit like that. Like, that's where I just basically beat. And I'm now in like the molten lava caverny area. So enjoying that. Fan favorite Final Fantasy Theater Rhythm final bar line. I tried to play Final Fantasy Origins Stranger of Paradise. I tried, but when I booted up my PlayStation 5, this Final Fantasy game was first in the line of Final Fantasy games on my cross media bar. I know it's not called that anymore, and I could not move past it. Like, physically, I moved all the buttons, but my PlayStation was like, no, you have to stop on this Final Fantasy game. And I was like, fuck, okay, I guess I have to. So yeah, I played this instead of starting Final Fantasy Origins. Beat a lot more games in it, and now I'm finally on to the like random ass shit. So like Final Fantasy Mystic Quest or whatever it is, and then Final Fantasy Chocobo Dungeon, and like I'm getting to those games and those soundtracks and learning that there's some weird shit going on in Final Fantasy like spin-offs. But yeah, fucking loving that.
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
For Final Fantasy Teen Fuckers backlot, is there music for Origin? Stranger of People.
I have not seen any on the standard game. There might be some in the DLC.
It's not a goose attack this time.
Okay.
Not a goose attack. Good.
The last thing that I have on here is the reason I'm wearing these sunglasses right now. It's just the letter R.
Yeah.
And I am using the power of the emphasis of taking off these glasses to look the audience in the eye and say, don't go see Renfield.
I love how you put on sunglasses for 30 minutes for that bit.
I didn't know it was going to take us 30 minutes to get to play time. But don't go see Renfield. I saw Renfield, and it was like a split second decision. We were like, let's just go see a movie. We were in Chicago, and we were like, we had nothing to do before dinner. And we're like, let's just go see a movie. We're right here at the theater. Oh, Renfield starts very, very, very soon. It's terrible. If you're not familiar, this is the Nicolas Cage Dracula movie where he plays Dracula. And it's not good. It is very poorly written. It has dumb jokes. Ben Schwartz is the bad guy in it, but like it's like the worst Ben Schwartz movie. And
would you say that it sucks?
Actually, I would say that it eats.
Oh.
Dracula in this movie doesn't really suck people; he eats people.
Huh.
Yeah. So just don't go see it.
What about Nicholas Hoult? Is he fun? At least?
No. And the whole you could have guessed this from the trailers, but surprise, the whole like community AA type meeting about codependency, like it's not a funny concept. It's not a funny setup. It's not, and they narrate and they hold on to that codependent thing with Dracula the whole time, and it just doesn't land.
What about Nick Cage though?
No, Nick Cage. I mean, if you enjoy Nick Cage, you might enjoy this. There was a couple of guys who were up to no good started making trouble in my neighborhood. There were a couple of guys in the front left of the theater who, anytime Nicolas Cage said anything, fucking cracked up. So I guess if you are a Nick Cage person, you might love this movie. But I particularly am not a Nick Cage person. And I used this movie and the concept of confirmation bias to now further justify why I don't watch Nick Cage movies. And that's it. That's it. I've emphasized my point by taking off my glasses and looking into the camera, and I'm done.
Damn, hate to see it. Alex, now that you ran away from a goose, what's going on with you?
I mean, of course, I've been playing a lot of Breath of the Wild. I'm hoping I can wrap it up within the next week or so. Other than that, really have not been playing that much. I will be getting around to Final Fantasy Stranger Paradise Origins Super Boy Band Edition. However, I did at the very last minute yesterday cave and get the Nintendo Switch Online expansion pass so I could check out the Nintendo 64 games that are on the platform. I played a little bit of Mario Kart 64. That game has aged interestingly in the year 2023. I definitely much prefer Mario Kart 8. But I did also check out Pokemon Stadium, which has aged much better, but because I was playing with some people that were literally in the UK, there was a little bit of input lag that made those mini games a little bit more difficult. But otherwise, pretty fun. Pretty fun.
Oh, that's something I hadn't considered about. You know, it's like it's so cool that these games just have built-in co-op for things that used to be couch co-op only. But yeah, Nintendo does not have good track record with online and latency and all that shit.
Right.
So I never even considered that for this.
Yeah, and it's tough because, yeah, exactly as you said, it's like, man, I never thought that Nintendo would be like, yeah, go and play Pokemon Stadium online. We made it online. Like, that's a great little bonus that nobody asks of them, but it's like, oh, you don't do great online to begin with.
I wonder how that works for games like GoldenEye. I wonder if they're even playable with multiplayer.
We're going to try GoldenEye next week, and we'll see how that goes.
Okay. Adam, I'm still listening. I'm just going to go refill my Taco Bell cup with more
that's fine. We'll
red
wait.
water. Okay.
Continue. No, I'm just kidding. We're not going to do that. I haven't played much. I beat, Alex, you'll like this. Maybe not, probably not. Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga. I decided to finish.
Not a game that I have any connection to.
It has nothing to
and
do with you
from a franchise that I don't care much about one way or the other.
Yeah, and no. But it was just cool. I was like, hey, they had a bunch of DLC on, what do you call it? Sale. It's just like extra characters and shit. It's like Mandalorian Season 2 and Bad Batch and whatever. It's fun. And I was just like, oh yeah, I was halfway through that game for like a year. So I just went and finished it. And now I'm running around and doing stuff as like, I'm the armorer from the Mandalorian. And I'm the Emperor hanging out with Jar Jar Binks. It's a fun time. But it was just a fun thing to waste some time. And then I did start Final Fantasy Origins Super Duper Paradise, or whatever the game's called. It'll be interesting to talk about whenever we get there. So far, I know the whole idea was like, oh man, this game is so cringy, the dialogue's so bad. So, and I'm only like an hour in. I'm like, it doesn't upset me. It's not like a thing that I would rail on. It like, this is awful. I'm like, oh, this seems just like generic fucking bad anime. It doesn't like upset me. He does say kill chaos a lot. He has said it about 8 times in the first hour. I'll give them that, but I'm not to the point where I don't think it's a meme. I do find them be extremely forgettable. I don't remember the characters' names, and there's only 3 characters so far. But again,
I think in the
first
original
hour.
game, the characters are like just named Warrior of Light, right? Like just generic ass. I don't know.
It'll be interesting as being my first Final Fantasy game, really, because I watched a review and it's like, you know, they're going through it and they're like, hey, it's got a lot of it's supposed to kind of be a remake of 1, and there's tons of references to all Final Fantasy. I'm like, oh shit, all this is gonna go over my head, and none of this is gonna mean anything to me. It's gonna be like, oh, that's a thing from 6. I'm like, I don't fucking know what happened in 6. So, but I will say, Jesus, the combat is good. I will give Team Ninja. They make a really, really good combat. The combat is super fun. I really, really like that.
Is this Team
It's just
Ninja
like,
that did this? I didn't realize that.
yes.
Yep.
Cool.
So it feels great. It's awesome to play. You can like switch your job. So it's basically like I have 2 different sets of armor and weapons and powers and stuff, which is cool in an action game. I'm just like, hey man, I really wish someone would give Team Ninja some budget, because their games are fun, but they look like fucking duty water every time.
I
don't think it
remember
looks-
that now from the demo, that like some of the cutscenes and some of the character models look like fucking PS1 era, and then some of them look really good. Oof.
You mentioning Team Ninja, that was another component in the weird reception this game got, where it's like prior to this, Team Ninja had done Neo and Neo 2, which were like, you know, pretty acclaimed games that have like pretty kind of like down the line, like serious narratives. Like they're not really like goofy in the way that this game is. And so I think a lot of people assumed, oh, it's going to be like that, but for the world of Final Fantasy 1. And what we got is very different from that.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm waiting for the goofy, because again, there's nothing that's been like, I don't get why anyone would think it's goofy. But again, besides him saying I want to kill Chaos a bunch, nothing else has been goofy for me. But again, I'm also super, super early. So I'll keep playing. I will say the gameplay is fun. Characters and story, we'll see. And it looks like a Team Ninja game, which is just like a lot of grays and a lot of, I think it's a Final Fantasy art thing, because like 14 also looks the same, but it's just like, it reminds me of Michael Bay Transformers, where it's like, it's just fucking mashes of fucking angles, and it's gray. That everything is just like crisscrossed angles, and it's gray, and it's like, this looks awful, but super, super fun.
Mass Tom in
but
the
yeah.
chat asks, if you know it's Team Ninja, are they really good ninjas?
That's true. You wouldn't know. Or maybe that's how good they're. Like, we don't give a fuck. We know. You're going to know. We know. Everyone knows.
And
You
if
know?
they're good enough ninjas, you don't even see them before they kill you.
Yeah. You just know that a team was coming for you.
Yeah.
But that's it. Final Fantasy. Can't wait to review that at the end of the month, because let me tell you, if I don't finish it by the 28th, it's not going to get played.
That's right.
But I think I'll finish it up. That's it for that part. Now we'll move on to the quest log. We're talking about things that happened. Not much, but it's here. We're here to talk about it. Delay rumors prove true, from Alex Stedman at IGN.com. Rocksteady has officially delayed Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League to February 2nd, 2024. Again, we had a big story, rumors, and yada, yada, yada. They said it themselves. The developer announced the news on Twitter, writing in a statement, quote, "We have made the tough but necessary decision to take the time needed to work on getting the game to be the best quality experience for players. Thank you to our amazing community for the continued support, patience, and understanding. There's much more to share in the months ahead, and we look forward to seeing you in Metropolis next year. The latest delay means Kill the Justice League will come out nearly 9 years after the most recent major Arkham First game, Arkham Knight. Again, we already knew the story. Everybody already reported that it got pushed back to next year. They just confirmed it themselves. 9 years, and the game apparently just got delayed for polish. So you're not going to get the no live service because that's what they always wanted to do. But yeah, there it is. It's official.
If they really if Rocksteady really wants to do a live service game and they believe in this, cool. Like if they feel like polishing it up and they feel like that's going to justify this game and people are going to like it, great. Excellent. Come at me on February 2nd, 2024 and show me that your game is wonderful. I'm happy for that. If they really believe in this and they think that it's a really good idea and then it comes out and it flops, I'm like, cool, I don't trust you anymore. See you in 9 more years, and we'll wait for your game to be on sale maybe after reviews. But right now, they have my benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, I don't have much else to say.
Yeah, there are 3 for 3 for me so far. And our last story of the day, this one was funny to me just because, all right, we'll talk about it in a second. I love how this story came out and nothing else in news was going on, so everyone was like, let's talk about this because we have nothing else to talk about, which I just thought it was funny on Twitter. But Chad, you were away on the weekend. Redfall caught in 4K. Get it? Because it's going to be in 4K 30. Caught in 4K is a thing the kids say when you get captured doing, like when someone catches you doing something.
Oh, it's like the new caught red-handed?
Yes, it's caught red-handed, but for
okay.
Gen X, Y, Z?
No, I think X is old people. Is Gen Z?
Darren Bonthwee's a GameSpot.
What's Gen X? Is that olds or youngs? Because we want to know for our podcast right now that
it upsets me that
on Twitch.
All of this is put into the Google bar.
First thing that comes up is twitch.tv.
Okay, we'll move on. Redfall developer Arcane Austin has confirmed the upcoming vampire hunting adventure will launch with quality mode only on Xbox Series X and S, with a performance mode option arriving in a later update. This means the game will be hard locked to 30 frames per second as a high resolution is prioritized. While on Series X, it will be 4K and Series S 1440p. I am dying. So yeah, 4K 30. 1440p 30 on the S. Deathloop, which was developed by Arcane Lion, did launch with quality and performance mode on PS5 and retained those options for its Series X and S launch a year later. For path-based shooters, performance mode is generally favored, but the sheer scope of the sandbox Redfall takes place in could be one of the reasons why resolution is being favored over frame rate. Again, so like on console it launches at 30 and we're going to have a patch for the 60. I don't know why it's such a big story, but I guess there you go.
It's tough for me because at the very start of the year, we did that episode where we laid out our predictions for the rest of the year. And I was like, you know what? I think that when it comes to Game of the Year award time, in the same way that in 2018, the races between God of War 2018 and Red Dead Redemption 2, and in 2022 is between Ragnarok and Elden Ring, I think that 2023 is going to be between Tears of the Kingdom and Redfield. And like,
well, hold on, careful. You're getting very close to Renfield, which is something we don't want to endorse.
Shit, I did. Crap. Whoops. Sorry, my bad. I think it's going to be between Redfall and Tears of the Kingdom. And I'm still very confident in Tears of the Kingdom. That trailer gave me a lot of hope. But Redfall, I legit got tripped up because you talked about Renfield earlier. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, all these news stories about the game like not being all that it can be at launch are starting to make me really doubtful. The last game that Arcane worked on, Deathloop, that game kind of broke through on like a mainstream level. It kind of was, as people called it at the time, their pop hit. And I thought, okay, they're working on another pop hit, and this time it's going to be like semi kind of multiplayer focused. This will make it potentially even bigger of a hit and put it on that stage where it can compete with the best of the best games that the year have to offer truly this time around. But now it seems like that might not phase out, and that's unfortunate because like, put all the Game of the Year discussion stuff aside, Arcane's a great developer and Microsoft needs a hit.
I would say I don't think 30 frames means it's bad. If it was like it's 30 frames 1080p, I'm like, well, probably got some issues. 4K 30 doesn't bother me as much. All it really says to me is that like this is the what we could get it on. So like another example, last year a game that Chad hated and I was very shocked. Horizon Forbidden West has had a performance and a resolution mode, and the performance mode was garbage. It looked, again, I know they later updated it and made it better.
Yeah.
But at launch, I turned on frame rate mode and was like, this actually looks awful. Yeah. And then I switched to performance mode and just played in 30 and it looked great and it was good for the rest of the game. It doesn't bother me. The only thing for this is just like, they're going to do an update. Nobody will care. The game, if it's good, it's good. No one gives a shit. But it just means I'm going to play it on PC just so I can have the option of a higher frame rate. It's the only difference for me, but I don't think it's like, oh, now the game's bad because it's 30 frames a second. I think it is a point for, it should be there at launch, and people who want to stick on it are going to stick on it. People are like, well, I want this game to fail, so I think that this is a thing to stick on because I have nothing else to stick on. But
yeah,
if the game is good, I don't give a shit what, as long as it's not a gross frame rate, I'll be fine with it.
Yeah, good games are in 30. Like, I played through all of Dead Space in 30 frames. I mean, yes, it had a working, wonderful performance mode as well, but like, games are not objectively bad because they are 30 frames per second.
Didn't you specifically say that? What was the knockoff Dead Space that you're like, you have to play it in 30 because it's so much better?
Oh,
Callisto Protocol.
Callisto, yeah. Callisto Protocol.
Yeah, you're like, don't even bother with the 60, go straight 30 because it's so much better.
Yeah.
So,
For the record, everything that you guys are saying is correct. Games aren't automatically worse just because they're in 30 FPS. It's just a combination of this and all the other things that this game isn't going to have at launch that are kind of sullying the narrative around it.
Oh, no, the narrative sucks. I'll give you that. That it's like, we should have just saved the quote-unquote bad news and just either did it early or not did it at all and just figured it out on launch. Because then, again, if you give people a reason to complain, they'll complain. But again, I would like a performance mode, but I just want the game to be good.
Yeah, and it really sort of appears that Gen X is 1965 to 1980, so they are the olds. And then Gen Z, there's some contention. And it makes sense, though. In a 2022 report, the U.S. Census designated Gen Z as the youngest generation with adult members born from 1997 to 2013. But because we know time is different in Canada, Canada says Gen Z is 1997 to 2012, as citing Pew Research Center, which I'm sure you've been there a lot, Alex, to the Pew Research Center.
Yeah, I just, whenever I'm in search of knowledge, I just head on down the street to the Pew Research Center right here in Canada.
Yeah. So they said that in a 2022 publication analyzing the 2021 census. So
okay,
I just wanted to close that.
The Gen Zers say COD in 4K.
They do say that. Yes.
And a Gen Xer wouldn't even know what a 4K is because they're on Facebook all day on their,
exactly,
Windows 98 PC.
Yeah, on their IBM ThinkPad laptops that weigh 45 pounds and they have a disk drive still on their laptops.
Olds. All right. That's it for that, but that means it's time for
segment from Adam, 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 a segment from Adam, segment from Adam, segment from Adam, a segment from Adam, segment from Adam, segment from Adam. That's the Final Fantasy arpeggio. That's what that is.
Yeah.
Nope.
Archipelago?
Yes. Speaking of archipelago, did you know that Japan is basically the size of the entire east coast of the United States?
Is it like an island that's super far up or something?
Yeah, it's like that chain of... It is a lot bigger than you think it is based on the maps of the world that you're used to seeing.
Yeah,
but I did see it overlaid on the map of the United States, and yeah, it is much bigger. I thought it was like maybe the size of...
California?
Florida?
Yeah.
No, not even California.
I assumed it was the side of a big state.
Yeah.
That's what I would assume.
Maybe,
a big state. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's huge, though.
All right, very cool. So this week, segment from Adam, we're gonna play a little game called Question Square, a Rafferty warm up.
Ooh, is this like Hollywood Squares?
No, not at all. It's just like Rafferty. Tell them what we're gonna do on Patreon, and this is why we're doing the warm up for it, Chad.
Oh, so this is a good way to tease the content. That's the Patreon exclusive content that's coming starting this week. Great.
Which you can get on Patreon. And
yeah, sorry. I was like, are you expecting... Was I supposed to say something? Yeah, patreon.com/respawn-aimfire.
As you can see, we're a very well-rehearsed show. We're incredibly meticulously planned out. We know everything that's going to happen.
Well, If you want to get the rehearsed version, you go to patreon.com/respawnaimfire and you donate $1 and you get access to a bunch of wallpapers. You get access to the ability to influence our barf game each month a little bit more heavily. And now you get a timed exclusive monthly game show segments. So RAF Pretty will be filming this Wednesday and releasing at a time soon after with a guest from a podcast that you are likely familiar with coming to join us on Wednesday.
On wet day. Yeah, very cool. All right, so again, this is a warm-up. I call it Question Square, a RAF Pretty warm-up, because it's 3 questions and 3 categories. It makes a square. 3 by 3. Look at that. A little easy version. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you what it's Jeopardy. So it's a question and you answer it's a question. Whatever.
Okay.
So
I love how we have 2 completely different names for the same knockoff game on this podcast.
I'm sure I called it something different before. Question Square I've never used before, but I've done this game. All right. So first category. There's 3 questions each.
Hold on. Do we do like what is our noise? What is our buzz noise? Do we have to establish those ahead of time?
You got to raise your hand and make a noise.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Whatever. What's your noise going to be, Chad?
It's the goose that came for Alex.
That'll sound great. Awesome. Alex, what are you doing?
Mine will be beep, 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 like that.
Make sure to raise your hand.
Okay.
All right. So our first category is 1 score and -2 years ago, which for those who don't know is 18 years.
Okay.
Because earlier this week, everyone was like, when I was 18, this game came out. So it's a category. Maybe it has something to do with 18 years ago. Number 2 is Spring into Action. And the third category is War in the Stars. Have I used this before? That was a question to myself. I don't know if I've used this category before, but here we are.
It sounds new to me.
Yeah, there's 1, 2, and 3 going down. It's supposed to be harder. Yada, yada, yada. Alex, you go first. 1 score and -2 years ago, Spring into Action, War in the Stars.
How many different denominations of points are there in each category?
1, 2, and 3.
1, 2, and 3. Okay, just 3. Mm-hmm. Perfect. I will go with 18 years ago for 1 point.
Excuse me, 1 score and -2 years ago.
1 score and -2 years ago. Whatever. Let's go.
For 1 point, you said?
Just for anyone who doesn't want to do math right now, what year is it? Is that 2005? That's the year?
It would be 2005.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
it would. All right. A subject of a recent remake, this game was a major turning point for survival horror. Chad?
Resident Evil 4.
Yes, it is. Give yourself a point, buddy. All right. Chad, you're up next.
I'm going to take 2005 for 2.
What was that?
1 score and -2 years ago for
2. All right. Before he had a boy, this game featured a simple journey to kill divinity.
Beep, 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 beep.
Oh, cozy.
God of War.
Oh, give yourself 2 points, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. You're up next.
Let's go with the 18-year ago thing for 3 points.
Okay. The first in a now renowned series, this game was Turn 10's first outing. 5, 4, 3, 2, boop, boop. It would be Forza Motorsport, not Forza Horizon. Forza Motorsport.
Okay.
First Forza Motorsport came out in 2005. All right.
I'm tipping that I don't know a lot about Xbox because you said Turn 10, and I'm like, I have no clue who that is.
Yeah, I'm also like, are there 10 corners in a racing track? Like, coming around turn 10 is Bobby the Bobby.
I think it's a rally thing. Bobby and Ricky. Okay. So Alex, you got to go again. We have Spring into Action and War in the Stars are the 2 categories we have.
Let's go Spring into Action for 1 point.
Chad, remember earlier before we recorded, I said there's one that's like a twisted sense of humor that only I would think of. Akin to, 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon as being John Malkovich.
Right.
Maybe Spring into Action is the weird one in Adam's brain.
Okay.
All right. Spring into Action for 1 point. This series features a fun character who puts children into massive debt.
Beep, 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 beep.
Ooh, who was that? That was very close.
Was it?
I'll raise my hand again so you can tell.
I'll go for Alex.
I'll raise my...
Damn it.
There we go.
I think
There
it was
we
Alex.
go. Of course. Perfect. Animal Crossing. What is Animal Crossing?
All right. What is Animal Crossing for 1 point? There you go. Give yourself a point.
Hell yes.
All right. Go again, Alex.
Spring into action for, have we done 2 points?
Nope.
All right, let's do it.
2 and
2
3.
points.
All right. If Honey, I Shrunk the Kids killed its cast, it would be very close to this game's premise.
Beep, 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 beep.
Go, Alex.
It is grounded.
Yes,
What
it
is
is
grounded?
grounded. Give yourself 2 points.
Who died in that game? Everyone's
The kids,
dead?
you can die. You can die very easily in that game.
Okay,
Absolutely.
All right, well, let's keep this train going. Let's do spring into action for 3 points.
All right. After the death of her young adult brother, you control a character with the power of empathy. Go ahead, Chad.
Life is strange.
Life is Strange. Very correct. All those
that
games,
game.
give yourself 3 points. All those games took place in springtime. They all had to do with bad things happening to children.
Okay.
You go into debt in Animal Crossing, you can get killed and grounded, and your brother
Wait.
dies in the beginning.
Does Animal Crossing begin in the springtime?
It takes place in spring. It features heavily in spring.
But it takes place across all the seasons. Like if you started
New
in
Horizons
winter.
started in spring because it came out in spring. So
Ooh, damn. Just so everyone knows, the standing right
I
now,
don't know.
Alex has
I
5
don't
points.
know.
I have 4 points. So we're
Alex
close.
also got the answer correct. So why are you arguing?
Because it's not good enough. I need to also be correct about Animal Crossing not always being in spring. All right, let's finish this
You're
off.
right. Let's just cancel out his answer.
Yeah,
0
take away your
points
point.
there.
No, I'm just kidding. You're good.
No.
All right,
All right.
War in the Stars. That's what you got, Chad. Give me 1, 2, or 3. War
War
in
in
the
the
Stars.
Stars for 3 points.
All right. It was Game of the Year 2019 at many outlets.
Beep, 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 beep.
I have to give that to Chad.
That was Jedi Fallen Order. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
There you go. You got it.
He's
All
like,
right.
I know what this game is, but I can't remember the order that the names in its title take
Where are
place.
these
Yes,
words
there's like-
going?
There's a bunch of space terms in order.
All right. Chad, go again. 1 or 2 for War in the Stars.
2.
2. Explore a Disney park in this VR tie-in of the famous franchise. All right. Go for it.
Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. Galaxy at the edge of the galaxy.
Ooh. Here's what I'm going to do.
Beep, 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 beep.
Well, I will not give him negative. I will give you a chance to steal Cozy. And if you can steal it, you get 2 points. If you don't, then he'll get 1.
Star
Sound good?
Wars Galaxy's Edge.
You both get 1 point. It's Tales from the Galaxy's Edge.
That's what it is. Yep.
So give yourself both get 1 point. You split that. You split that too.
I was like, I know, because Galaxy's Edge is the theme park. And I was like, I know it's not named exactly the same. I knew it was something different.
It's very close. All right, Alex, I'll let you go on this last one because you got to steal, kind of. This game allows you
I
to
can't
dance.
win either way, so doesn't
How many
matter.
points you have?
6, Chad has 8.
Oh, this actually worth 2 points. This game allows you to dance alongside Han Solo in a bastardized version of a Jason Derulo song.
I mean, I know what you're talking about, but I don't remember. Okay, beep, 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 beep.
Oh, what is it?
It is Star Wars Connect.
Oh, there you go. Connect Star Wars.
Yay.
There you go. Oh, look at that. We're tied up. And that's perfect because that means we have to continue it this week on patreon.com/respawn-aim-fire.
Oh, shit.
I'm
Go
not
and check
sure.
it out.
I'm not sure how this is going to work because I'm going to be the host of that particular episode.
Doesn't matter. It continues later this week on patreon.com/respawn-aim-fire.
Like, if we don't get the answer, Alex just starts shouting them and giving himself points.
If
Give yourself
here's what
points.
I'll say. Chad, you ended this with 8 points like me. If we have a tie at the very end of RAF Pretty, if we do Final Jeopardy, we better points, and you're still tied with someone at the end, I will give you those final 8 points and make you the winner.
Yeah.
But only
I just
if all
wanna-
that stuff happens.
I just want to point out, like, this is an achievement. I do not normally do well at these games. I usually get my ass handed to me by Adam or Alex in these things. So, like, I'm putting this down as a win in my book.
Yeah. The tie's
Sure.
not a loss,
It's true.
technically.
That's science. And they actually count that as, like, an actual thing in soccer. I watched Ted Lasso. So,
Ties count in all sports. Absolutely. All right. In sports, you can tie in. that's it for my segment from.
And that is it. We don't have a game on game show today, folks. I just flew in from Chicago 2 hours before we started this podcast, and boy, are my
your
arms
arms
tired.
Are your fucking arms tired?
You know why? Because I'm that goose that terrorized Alex. Speaking of, there were not enough goose memes that were sent to Alex's Twitter last time, so I'm gonna extend. I don't remember where the goose had anything to do with anything, but I do remember that we told people to send pictures of happy geese to Alex. So still do that. Twitter.com/Alex Cozina. Send him some happy geese pictures. While you are on Twitter,
don't send
you can
too many
us.
though. Don't send too many. I still got to look at my anime on Twitter.
Don't want to pollute the algorithm. While you're there, you can go to twitter.com/respawnaimfire. You can go follow us, make us cool and famous. And you can also make us rich at patreon.com/respawnaimfire. Go there, donate money to us, support us, get access to all the things we talked about before, including the upcoming RAF party and other shit like wallpapers and barf games. Do that. Go watch Succession tonight. If you're like, what is Succession? HBO Max. It's fun for the family. Soon to be just Max. It's even easier for
just
the family.
Max for the family.
Yeah, just Max for the family. Everyone get a first dog. Call it Max. It's a family dog. Costs $15.99 a month. You get access to Dune. You get access to Harry Potter movies. They have the first Harry Potter with Christopher Columbus will stop the movie in the middle of the movie and explain some things behind the scenes, and then I'll hit play on the movie again.
Really?
That exists. I just found out about that this
There's
weekend.
the 4-hour cut of Justice League. Don't forget about that one.
There is Justice League, the Zack Snyder cut.
Fury of the Gods is coming to Max. There was a tweet that was funny. It's like Fury of the Gods is coming, or something. It was something. It was a sex joke. I can't remember it now.
Penguin prequel coming to
Oh,
HBO,
yeah.
coming to
excited about
Max,
that.
coming to Max in May, or not
Yeah.
in May, but Max is coming in May. Not the dog.
It's gonna.
Don't get the family dog, because then you don't want that in the house.
They probably have that one episode of the Justice League cartoon where Wonder Woman gets turned into a pig on there.
Yeah, I
I've
remember that.
heard they do, and then that's
I've
how
watched
Muppets
that episode.
started, and she becomes
Yeah.
Miss Piggy.
Yeah, I
Man.
watched that episode. I'm like, I have the weirdest boner right now. I don't know why.
And then Wishbone came on after that, and that little dog was doing Romeo and Juliet. It's pretty cool.
Reading Rainbow. All right, that's it, everybody. Until next time. Oh, wait, Alex, first of all, Alex, thank you for being alive and safe, and welcome back to the show. It's great to have you back.
I am so happy to be here. You know, it was real tough for a couple of days there, but thankfully nothing bad is going to happen anymore. Oh, no! Get out of here! Out!
That freaking goose. Oh, God, I hope he makes her. I hope at some point in the future, completely after he's left our minds and we no longer are thinking about Mr. Goose, he just comes back to terrorize us once again. Where can people find you, Alex, if they want to enjoy your content and life?
If
going
another
forward?
goose doesn't take a shit on my keyboard, you can find me on Twitter at Alex Kazina, ALEXKZINA.
Dope. And until next time, everyone, here's our usual sign off. I've got to pee.